Jesus said, everything spoken in the closet will be shouted from the rooftops. Yeah, his name should be, albeit he's not really the president, it should be President Frank Marshall Davis Jr. I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant.
Yeah.
That guy's good. He's good. He is good. Okay. Whoops. Oh, wait a minute. All right. What's the live around? 27? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for. I love Pastor James David Manning. I just love the guy. Let's go into. Okay, we talked about natural born citizen. In summary, the definition of natural born citizen: both parents on American soil. The reason that is so that you don't have divided loyalties. We needed an American commander-in-chief of our military that has one country that he has loyal to, and so that's why natural born citizen was put in there. And we talked about how Obama fits into that natural born citizen. Argument 2, Obama's birth certificate is a proven forgery. You guys, the majority of people in this room already know about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Jerome Corsi wrote a book, also contributed to the cold case posse. This guy, John Woodman, wrote a book. I don't care too much for his credentials, and this is the other side. So you want to get both sides. I got both books here. In my opinion, he just doesn't have any credentials and he doesn't know what he was talking about. Sheriff Joe Arpaio had 50 years service to America. 50 years service to America, toughest sheriff in America, and nobody wants to hear what he's got to say. Absolutely incredible to me that Miley Cyrus can shake her naked butt on VMA awards and Sheriff Joe Arpaio can't get the time of day. Doesn't make any sense. Really quick on this technical issue, and I want to give you guys Mayor is the Best report. I have printouts of it, as well as Regina, I guess Albert, if I remembered his name properly. Is it Albert? I thank him. There's many reports up here of the cold case posse, 207-point affidavit by Mike Zullo. Mayor is the Best wrote a report as well. I use the acronym CSS Moonfish. I don't have the time simply to go through the details. I ask that you please look up Mayor is the Best cold case posse report. There's clipping. This is the acronym that I use to remember all of this, right? We have a smiley face in Alvin Tionaka. We have clipping mask that proves image manipulation. There's a misspelling in the stamp. We have multiple layers, optical character recognition. I brought a football to really, drive home a point. If you took a picture of me today, from any direction, do you think there's anything in any laboratory that you could do to that picture to see that I got a football behind my back? No, that'd be silly, right? There's no way that you could tell that I got a football behind my back when you take my picture. Yet, in Obama's birth certificate, there are pixels behind pixels, right? You can move pixels, and there's other pixels behind it that are still part. It's like that proves that the image is manipulated and things were imported from other documents. It's a bad manipulation. This is, anybody who's familiar knows that thing is, the overwhelming majority of America doesn't understand doesn't understand the documents that detail, so it goes right over them. But we have chromatic aberration issues. I talked about the football argument. The image noise is not consistent. The stamps are fraudulent. They were imported from outside the document. You can actually separate the layers, pick out the stamp, and move it around because they pulled the stamp from outside. There's a halo effect that should be there, but that should not be there, but it is. But Mike Zullo tested this thing every which way, up and down and backwards. Mike Zullo's affidavit, which we have copies for everyone. Mayor is the Best 10-page report. Jerome Corsi's book, Where's the Birth Certificate? That was the impetus. When Jerome Corsi was coming out with that book, then up comes the Osama bin Laden killing. And then they did that to preempt the book of Where is the Birth Certificate. That's my feeling on the matter. YouTube presentations, Tea Party Power Hour channel has a sheriff's kit. It's like 6 or 7 videos along with Mike Zullo's affidavit, Mayor's Best report, and it's a sheriff's kit that Joe Arpaio has provided to the American public that we can go present to our congressmen, to our local sheriffs. He's made it all easy for us. He's given us everything. Like I said, this is not an intellectual, complicated issue. This is a warrior of God issue. This is, do you want to take the truth that's been put on a silver platter, and do you want to take it to people and tell them and get them excited about it? Do you want to let them continue to let them send our sons and daughters off into the military, have a commander-in-chief as a son of Satan? He's not eligible to be president. He's purposely destroying this country. Reed Hayes is a document PDF expert used by Perkins Coie. You know who Perkins Coie is? Perkins Coie is the law firm used by Obama to defend and to put people like Orly Tates and to dismiss all their cases. Reed Hayes is Obama's own PDF document expert, and Reed Hayes says that thing is a forgery. Incredible, incredible. Moving right along, and I don't want to keep everybody over if it's. I know we're cutting on time. Are we okay? Tell me how much longer we can go. Or if I'll just go and
officially 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll continue to go, and then if you want me to cut off, I will cut off, and I'll try to finish this up. Yes, sir.
The typeface also was a digital typeface. It was not actual keystrokes.
Absolutely.
I didn't see that on your list there.
Amen, brother. I'll add that to the list, and I want to give this presentation to whoever will listen. And I thank you so much. This has been bubbling up in me for 5 years, and I appreciate you guys letting me unload tonight. So let's go on to argument 3. Obama was born in Kenya. What evidence do we have? First of all, Mario Apuzzo with Commander Kirshner has a much more detailed report that I can cover in this presentation. But let's go through the evidence that I've got, but there's lots more. There was numerous reports that Stanley Ann Dunham left Hawaii to travel to Kenya in the summer of 1961. Mike Zullo in his affidavit, point 169, says we're completely missing from the microfilm roll the week that Obama was supposedly born when they went and tried to look through the data records, right? They went and looked at the microfilm, but that particular week was gone. Isn't that a little bit suspicious? It's just a little bit suspicious that there's no records for that week. I just find that a little bit suspicious. There was a passport breach. There was a passport breach back in 2008 of March of 2008. A contract worker for a company that was headed by John O'Brennan. John O'Brennan was the target of the investigation. He later became Obama campaign advisor, who later became assistant to the president, right? He got huge promotions after that investigation. A witness that was expected to be called in that passport investigation, I don't know if you guys remembered, I'll try to jog your memory. Hillary Clinton and John McCain were the reported targets of the passport, but they said, oh, Obama's in there too, right? But they said it's mainly a passport breach about Hillary and McCain, but Obama's in there too. Well, a month later, this young man named Lieutenant Quarles Harris Jr. was shot in the head in his car in the front of his church. Like I said, we got to be willing to die if you want to jump on the birther bandwagon. This is the issue. This is the issue that will take down this ineligible administration. And people say, well, he's just a puppet. Well, puppets are guilty too, and they don't get a pass for what they did just because they're a puppet. And I realize it ain't going to solve all the world's problems, but this will be a huge blow to the New World Order and the people behind Obama. Who else said he was born in Kenya? Ambassador to the United States, Peter Ogego, was in a radio interview. He admitted in that radio interview that he was born in Kenya. You can go listen to it. There's a YouTube video. Just YouTube search his name, Peter Ogego, radio interview, and he will admit that Obama was born in Kenya, right at just clear as day in the radio interview. Who else admitted? There was an interview done with Obama's step-grandmother, Sarah Onyango Obama. She speaks Swahili. They had an interpreter, and they had an English pastor interviewing her. And all reports are that the transcript of that interview is that she said he was born in Kenya. She was there at his birth. Now, people argue that something was missed in the translation. That's certainly their argument to make. This picture is a doctored photo. I don't want to go into it right now, but there's another picture of these two sitting right beside each other, and Obama was inserted. You can see the weird thing of his hand that they wanted to put the perception that we have Obama loved by his grandparents. Of course, Madeline Lee Payne Dunham died 2 days before the election in 2008. It wasn't the inauguration. She died 2 days before the election. She could have testified. She never actually spoke anything in public about when he was a senator or when he became president. She's as quiet as a church mouse. She never said anything. She dies 2 days before the election, supposedly of cancer. There's just so much going on here, guys.
What's the deal on the hand?
The hand. Look at the. It's like they want. There's no way the arm like that, and they're trying to make it look like he's got his arm around him, like there's a big happy family here. But there's another picture where these two are together, and Obama they pulled these two apart and they've inserted him in the middle. Is what they've done. This thing was put all over the place, and it's been analyzed by many people, and all of them agree that this thing is a forgery. This is not a. This is a doctored photo. Well, I've talked about his grandmother. I've talked about Peter Ogego, the ambassador to Kenya. I've talked about some other stuff. Well, who else said he was born in Kenya? Obama said he was born in Kenya. His own literary bio for over 15 years as a Harvard grad, promoting himself as a Harvard grad. What does it say? Born in Kenya. You're telling me that his own literary bio for over 15 years, he won't go correct that after that long period of time? You're going to write books, be promoted as a Harvard grad, and Breitbart was killed over this. Breitbart was murdered over this issue. One of the last people Breitbart spoke to, if my information is correct, was Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Breitbart was killed over this issue because he was coming up with that. Born in Kenya. Whose job is it? Who let us down? My friend Alfred Adask pointed me to the 20th Amendment, and I'll let you guys read it, but go to the 20th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, read Section 3. It talks about the Congress is responsible for qualifying, shall have qualified, if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, and the President shall have qualified. So it's 20th Amendment, Section 3, it's the Congress's job to qualify the President. They let us down. They have let us down, and we're stuck with an ineligible President, Commander-in-Chief, got his hand on the nuclear arsenal. Who are the good guys? I could tell you 30 minutes, probably an hour on each one of these guys. I won't inflict that much pain on you. Every one of these guys are righteous men and women of God who will stand up for the truth. One of them's in this room right now, Pastor Stefan Roden. Pastor Stefan Roden he has put his life on the line. We have the Constitutional Election Summit, and he has put his life on the line to share the truth. And I am grateful to know this man. I am honored to be his friend. And he is one of the many men and women of God who have put their life on the line to share the truth. Pastor James David Manning, Mickey Booth in Oklahoma. Terry Lincoln went to prison for 5 months. Orly Tates has been sharing the truth. And some guy, forget his name, that treated her so bad on the news, it's like, this guy needs to be taken behind the bar. He treated that lady like no Texan should treat a lady. You know, it's just amazing how bad he treated her. Pastor Wally S. Drake in California has been a preacher for a long, long time, and has helped the homeless in his area. Phil Berg, a Democratic lawyer. Mike Zullo, Sheriff Arpaio. Jerome Corsi. Teresa Cow stood up in the reading of the Constitution in the House of Representatives. When they got to Article 2, Section 1, she said, not Obama. He's not eligible. She got kicked out of the House of Representatives. I pray that God's taking good care of her. We got Pastor Stefan Roden in the room with us tonight, and thank God for him. We got Carl Gallups. Got a radio show. He talks about this all the time. And we got Commander Kirshner, protectourliberty.org. Of course, we got Alex Jones speaking about the truth. I wish that he would take a whole week. This is just my opinion. This is my little, if this ever gets to Alex Jones, Alex, I would ask that you take one whole week of your radio show and just have nothing but birthers on. Have nothing but birthers and natural born citizen folks, and just forget all this other stuff. The thumb in the dike that's going to stop this Pandora's box of all these issues is is talking about this birth certificate issue. We can fight the NDAA, we can fight all these other victories that Obama's doing, and the Obamacare, and all this other stuff he's doing. But if you talk about the birth certificate, we'll get him taken out. And if someone like Alex Jones or anybody else, I'm not putting all the burden on him. I'm just saying, that would be my suggestion if I ever get a chance to speak to the man. The Good Guys Part 2. The Good Guys Part 2. Sheriff Richard Mack, I was disappointed in the beginning. I was disappointed, but he came around and he has done a tremendous job. Thank God for Sheriff Richard Mack, who said, I'm convinced. Initially, he was not convinced. Ann Barnhart, I don't know if she got more balls than most men in America. This woman makes me look like I come from kindergarten class. Alan Keyes, he's one of the initial birthers. Thank God for people like Alan Keyes. Chief Mark Kessler, I don't know if you guys know him, but he is a fireball, man. This guy, you listen to this guy, you get pumped up. This guy tells the truth about the birth certificate issue. Lord Monckton, he talks about the climate. He talks about the climate change, and he knows Obama's ineligible. This is a picture of David Lansford. He was our jury foreman in Atlas, and he is a mayor of Clovis, New Mexico, and he was our jury foreman, and he voted guilty. I was in that jury room, and I was proud to have him as a foreman. Pat Boone is a birther, if you didn't know that. Ted Nugent has questioned his eligibility. Dr. Herb Titus and Peter Boyle have a radio show, if I'm not mistaken, K-How in Colorado, although I think they fired him. I think they kicked him off the air. I'm not sure, but I have to check up on that. Okay, this is where things gonna get a little rough, and you guys gonna throw throwing tomatoes at me, because I know some of you guys in here like Ron Paul. I love Ron Paul too. I read all his books. I had a big old Ron Paul sticker in my sign. I love his foreign policy of freedom. I love the fact he's addressed the Federal Reserve and tried to bring attention to it. I love the fact that he's a constitutionalist. But this is going to be tough for me to say in this room, but I got to say it. Don't call yourself a constitutionalist if you're not going to stand up and support Article 2, Section 1. There is a video of Ron Paul, and he says, the birth certificate issue is not important. I'm not asking any questions. It's just like our biblical hero, David. I love David. Right? David did a lot of wonderful things in the Bible, but there are times when our heroes let us down. And I would like to see Ron Paul pull a Sheriff Richard Mack. That's what I'd like to do. If Richard Mack wasn't with us in the beginning, but Richard Mack's with us now, I would love to see Ron Paul. That gets me excited to talking about that, because if Ron Paul would come around on this birther issue, we would see some movement on this thing. Matt Drudge, he used to talk about it, he don't talk about it no more. Donald Trump, what's up with that? I think he's more interested in the, what do you call it? There's a word about money.
Filthy lucre.
Filthy lucre, amen, sister. That's my wife. Thank you for that. She's, you say, well, he's doing the best he can. Well, you don't go silent. You got to be willing to die. J. Edward Griffin. I had a family member dying of cancer. I wrote him a letter. I said, this guy's come out with a book called World Without Cancer. He's got a book and a DVD. He also he wrote the initial book that woke me up, The Creature from Jekyll Island. That book blew my mind and started a domino that changed my whole life. I love this guy, but I wrote him a letter. I said, where can I get some vitamin B17? I got a family member dying of cancer. You know what he wrote me back? He said, here's where you can get the stuff for the vitamin B17. You need to go to these places. I said, thanks for that. But he said, the eligibility of the Obama, they elected him. There's nothing we can do. We just need to educate the people. I'm like, J. Edward Griffin, and I loved you so much, and what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me saying we can't pursue this issue? If this man was a constitutionalist, it's not about educating the people. I want to educate the people too. We're talking about justice for a crime, right? And I'm not letting it slide. Bill O'Reilly, he's too busy to look into Sheriff Joe Powell. Sean Hannity, well, give me a break. He makes a living off the First Amendment. But Glenn Beck, I think my sister Regina called him wolf in sheep's clothing. That's some kind words. Okay, this is another one I'm hard to do. It's like, God give me strength. Pastor Robert Jeffers. Pastor Robert Jeffers. I wrote him a letter, told him about the issue. He said, I don't want our church to get involved in that because we don't get involved in political matters. This is the biggest First Baptist church in all of downtown Dallas. We don't get involved in political matters. We can't touch that. That's a legal issue, right? I said, wow, okay, Pastor Robert Jeffers, I understand. I'm not going to get upset with you now. Just thank you very much and thank you for your time. Have a good day. Okay, so that wasn't him specifically, but it was his representatives that were communicating to me on his behalf. Well, the 2012 election came up, and Pastor Robert Jeffers started supporting the Mormon, right? I don't understand. I thought he didn't get involved in political matters. It's like, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. I love the guy. He's done a lot of good things. Mike Zullo and Carl Gallup went to present to Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. They presented all the evidence, had all the time. Allen West's response at the end of that, he said, this is some very, very good stuff, but I can't do anything about it because it might hurt my next political run. Right? Are you putting your next political run over a priority, over the truth of what's going on in this country? I mean, what's going on? This guy is supposed to be our hero. He's supposed to be a beacon of truth, supposed to be willing to risk his life. Combat hardened veteran. Combat hardened veteran. I can't talk about this because it might hurt my next political run. Well, there's my time for saying I'm up. But I'll just say, I hope he does a Richard Mack on this. I hope Lieutenant Colonel Allen, Mark Wayne Mullen, they told us before the 2012 election, they said, don't bring up the birth certificate issue, we'll get him out in the election. Don't bring it up. We'll talk about this after the election. After the election, Mickey Booth walks up in a town hall meeting, gives Mark Wayne Mullen documented evidence, the Mike Zullo affidavit. He says, I don't want to see it. This should have been taken care of before the election. I said, wait a minute, before the election, you told us that we shouldn't be talking about it because it was going to hurt your chances. Now it's after the election, you still don't want to hear about it. I'm sorry, Mark Wayne Mullen. You're kind of close by with the Oklahoma thing, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed, Mark Wayne Mullen. He also had a bad word to say about street preachers. Let me tell you, there's some street preachers that make me feel like a coward, and that's easy to do, but I'm just saying, I would never badmouth a street preacher. If the only reason that California and New York doesn't fall in the ocean is because of some good street preachers. The Tea Party, courts, Congress, media, and churches have let us down too. Pastor Broden's leaving. Thank you for coming, Pastor Broden. God bless you. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you showing up tonight. But we have been let down, folks. What are we going to do about it? I just like to leave you with some Bible verses. This is one of my favorite Bible verses. That's not my favorite. And you may say that's kind of weird, but I'm sorry. I'm a King James man. Hate the evil and love the good and establish judgment in the gate. That means establish justice. Right? We got preachers nowadays, love, love, love. I know the Lord is love, absolutely. But if you read the Bible, there is verses that thou hatest all workers of iniquity. I'm not preaching hate. I'm not saying our heart should be filled with hate. But sometimes there's justice that needs to happen. There's absolute justice. But this Bible verse says, hate the evil, love the good, maintain justice. John 7:24 says, judge not according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Right? Don't take into account the appearance of a man. Take into account righteous judgment. This is a chain of command. This is a very critical point. Our sons and daughters in the military have this man as their commander-in-chief. Okay, this bothers me. This bothers me that this man has committed. You know, send little Johnny off to the military, have a good time. When you come back, we'll have some pie and ice cream. And in the meantime, you're going to be ruled by the son of Satan, destroying this country. I'm sorry, this bothers me. I'm sorry it bothers me. To Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lincoln tried to do something about it. I'm wrapping this thing up, folks. I promise. I just got to read you these verses. The Word of God is so powerful, it's sharper than any two-edged sword. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set up on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. I'm telling you, folks, we have got to let the light shine, and we cannot back down. And the Lord tells us to be salt and light of the earth, and to be without fear. If God can speak the universe into existence, the tyranny that's running the world ain't no problem for God. Don't let these bastards take our country without fight. I would leave you with one last verse. This is my closing verse, and I'd love to answer any questions, and I appreciate you to let me run over a little bit tonight. Joshua 1:9 says, Have I not commanded thee, be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. That's my parting thought, and I love the Word of God, and it's powerful for me, and I hope that this presentation has been informative. I hope you picked up a few things, and I hope you give me good feedback, and let me know what you think. I really do want to know your feedback, and thank you for your time.